You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 182. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
I'm Jeff Barnhart, otherwise known as Doc Ock, the world's most dangerous nerd. It isn't he, though?
Well, yeah, I'll give him that. Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out our show, plus many other cool podcasts like the all-new Anti-Fanboy, Super Podcasto Magnifico, and Ultimate Facepalm at rhymeswithgeek.com. And if you enjoy this program, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
All right.
So you hit the nail on the head with your bit in the intro because this episode's all Spider-Man, the last of our all Spideys.
Oh.
I know we just went by so quick.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some more Spider-Man for next week, but this is the last all Spider-Man episode for a while. But yes, the first issue we're going to talk about is Amazing Spider-Man number 89. The story is called Doc Ock Lives, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by John Romita.
I think this is the first Doc Ock I've read.
For the show or just at all?
Maybe for all. I don't remember ever reading. I know about Doc Ock.
Sure.
I don't know. Spider-Man calls him the most dangerous villain. This is Doc Ock, really?
Of the guys that he goes toe-to-toe with on a regular basis, I would say so. He's a super scientist, and the arms make him also incredibly formidable physically.
I guess it's like Luthor getting those arms, so it's about the same way.
Luthor has more resources, but Doc Ock is a double threat as a super criminal because he's got this terrific power as well as a keen scientific intellect, which Norman Osborn didn't invent all his stuff, or the stuff that's simple enough. He's not a super scientist,
right?
And Doc Ock is a super scientist. He's a nuclear physicist. So,
good for him.
Yeah,
I'm glad that he's using his education. Something of himself. Okay. Well, Doc Ock. The name of his Doc Ock lives, but he dies. But then this is a comic book, so we know he lives. I don't know. I think
as much as death seems less permanent in comics these days, boy, the villain you think died and then coming back because they weren't really dead is used like 100 times more in like Gold, Silver, and Bronze Age comics.
And now they're doing it with these days. They're doing it with the characters, more so. The heroes.
Yeah. Like, they're all characters. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah,
the hero.
Character,
right. But the thing is, with villains, it usually they seemed like they died, but they survived.
Yeah.
And then heroes, they really died, and then some magic thing or some MacGuffin makes them come back. But stuff.
Yeah. Okay, Spider-Man. Hey, Doc Ock is dead, so let's get into Mufti, and he sees the newspaper and says, "Oh, that's good," but they didn't find any parts of his body.
Here, what I think is, man, the Daily Bugle's really on top of this because the airplane crash happened like earlier that day, and here's the late edition or something with Doc Ock killed in the airplane crash.
Yeah, they used to have 2 or 3 editions, and if you have superheroes fighting, I'd have a bunch of editions,
Right.
Because people
would sell papers.
Yeah. Oh, Randy Robertson shows up and invites PD to a environmental march or something.
Yeah.
There's even expecting Ralph Nader. I mean, Ralph Nader had this kind of a cool aura around him. Now they find out he's kind of a goofball.
Yeah, he seems really kind of I'm trying to find the word, but kind of a square now, and kind of off, kind of an oddball. Yeah. But in the day, in his early prominence, he was a really high profile, kind of like breaking from the establishment kind of guy.
Right.
He was a Jay Gatsby,
Yeah.
Not in that same sense, but you know what I mean. He
definitely was important, man. But he made a fool of himself in the last election he was in. He was on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and Jay said, "Hey, what do you do for fun?" Because he's so humorless, and
Yeah.
he said strawberries. And they have vitamin C, and then they brought on a comedian, Hewley, I think his name was.
D.L. Hughley?
Yeah,
Black
and
guy?
and he's there with them, and they said, "Well, and um, let's see what Ralph Nader said. I want a travel coach." And Hewley says, "Man, that's scary. Hey, Prez, pass the peanuts." You know, how absurd that is. So,
Right.
oh man,
It's sad because, Ralph Nader's a good guy, I think.
I don't know.
But
It's the Saints who send people, who kill a lot of people, and people who are they don't drink or have fun. They usually cause more trouble.
because I think deep down they have sociopathic tendencies or something like that.
Robespierre was straight-laced,
Yeah.
Hitler didn't drink or smoke. Not saying Ralph Nader is Hitler, or Robespierre even, but it's sort of, just because people don't party doesn't make them good.
Right. It usually means they've got a lot of hang-ups.
Yeah.
Interesting that you would reference a Robespierre.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so
Peter-
Peter Kane make the stupid meeting, and Randy gives him grief, and I wouldn't care, but I guess.
But it's different. It's 71 and it's 1970 and we got to fight the power, man.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so Doc Ock isn't dead. He's in an alleyway.
He's right behind Petey, who does not sense him with the Spidey sense. So I should get a no prize for this.
You should.
Because there he is, and here comes the arm.
Right.
And for crying out loud, what's the use of Spidey sense if it doesn't sense bad guys?
Right. No, and he should feel some sense of impending danger right there.
Mhm.
So anyway, Doc Ock is in an alleyway in the middle of the day. And anyway, he finds a newspaper, says he's dead. He's like, oh, well, I'll let him think I am.
Right. Wonderful panel of a bunch of Spider-Mans looking for.
It's a montage of Spidey looking for Doc Ock.
Yeah, and Doc Ock shows him where he's at because he's tearing apart a power station. And then we get this huge fight, and it's pretty dang cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Spidey's fights with Doc Ock. Because Doc Ock, he's tearing down chimneys and stuff, and Spidey's got to try and stop the debris with his webbing and fight him. He's got to fend off 4 different limbs, and Doc Ock can fight him long distance.
I like the way Spider-Man uses the limbs against him.
Well, he's got to.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time Spidey met Doc Ock beat the crap out of him. It was the first time Spidey was beaten. And Doc Ock didn't even... That time, I think it was like way back in Amazing Spider-Man number 3 or 5 or something like that. And Doc Ock just threw him out the window. He didn't even care. Didn't even care about his secret identity.
Oh,
Next
nobody. Time he does.
Yeah.
Now he's crazy to kill Spider-Man.
And of course, I'm sure he's cursing his short-sightedness. But yeah.
Yeah. Doc Ock can take a punch, which surprised me.
Yeah. Well, and when Spidey punches people who aren't physically superpowered or whatever, he always pulls his punches when he punches people. Because he knows, a punch with super strength could kill somebody. So he tries to take people down with the least amount of force possible, and it frequently gets him into trouble.
Yeah, man, he's thrown out the building. That's because he was pulling his punches.
Right. Now, the title of the story in the next issue will be called "And Death Does Come." And it's not death for Spidey, but it is for Captain Stacy.
Oh, really?
The following issue is one where Captain Stacy is killed.
Man.
And the big reveal that Captain Stacy knew Peter was Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, because Captain Stacy wasn't born yesterday, and like everybody else. In Spider-Man's thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Vampire at Large.
That's right. So we're talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 102. This was written, yes, it's Vampire at Large. Written by Roy Thomas, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Frank Giacoia. Now, the previous issue, Amazing Spider-Man number 101, introduces Morbius, the living vampire. This is the second part of a 2-parter.
Mm-hmm.
Spidey has grown 4 extra limbs and went to Doc Connors for help.
Mm-hmm.
And Doc Connors turns into the Lizard, and Morbius is around, and boy, do things get complicated.
They're fighting over the right to kill Spider-Man.
Right.
Although Morbius just wants to suck his blood.
Right.
And Dr. Morbius is a Nobel Prize winner.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, that's a cool fight. I see this confused. Well, don't go away, Spidophile. Wouldn't it be Arachnophile?
Yeah.
Properly?
Yes.
Oh, man.
It
All right, pretty cool fight between Morbius and Lizard. And Spider-Man is out for the count, kind of. You can just watch.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I really like how Gil Kane draws the Lizard. And Morbius. Look at the eyes.
Yeah, that's creepy.
They do. One of Gil Kane's strengths, I think, is a lot of close-ups and weird and odd facial expressions. He's really good.
Yeah, and drawing, and you can see facial expressions on the Lizard, which is kind of instead of
Yeah, it's very impressive because he lending humanity and human expressions to an anthropomorphized character that's very animalistic.
Yeah.
Doc Connors is working on a thing that will dehydrate him and that will revert him back to Connors rather than being the Lizard.
He gets bit by Morbius. But Morbius runs away. Says, "Oh, I'm tired of fighting you. I'm going to do something else." Which was kind of odd.
Yeah.
Which is another supervillain thing. Oh, I'll finish off later.
Yeah.
And, my favorite TV show is on. I don't,
Right. Yeah.
So he bites Lizard, and Lizard becomes half lizard, half man.
So he's
quarter lizard. And
he's
3/4 man.
Doc Connors reverts back to being human and then back to the Lizard, but retains Connors' intelligence. But it is slipping.
Right.
So Connors and Spidey are working on a way to cure Spidey of his extra limbs. Yeah. And how are we going to beat Morbius?
Right. He makes an admission here that it's hard for him to use technical equipment with his hands. And
when he's the Lizard.
Yeah.
So he basically tells Spidey what to do, and so he does all the lab work.
Yeah, but I thought he was doing stuff as a Lizard, too. At least it was in the movie. I haven't read much Lizard stuff either. So.
It seems like we've read a bunch of Lizard of late.
Yeah, but
I
guess he's never working in his laboratory as a Lizard.
I think it makes sense that he has trouble using instruments because most of the time the Lizard is more animalistic with some human intelligence, but it varies. So I don't know.
Yeah,
there's a lengthy interlude that kind of gives us the scoop on Morbius,
an origin story. Yeah,
yeah, and man, there's a great panel montaging, with floating heads, and which is one of Gil Kane's specialties. Thinking, Morbius upside down, thinking about the people that mattered to him most, and that's
he dreams. He doesn't want to dream, but he dreams anyway.
Yeah.
Supposedly, he's got this awful blood disease.
Yeah.
And he destroyed his nose and all that. So he does experiments with vampire bats. I'm not sure why vampire bats, but
because blood and because it's a comic book.
Yeah, and they're cool. Yeah. Okay.
And this is also really important because Morbius was created when the Comics Code lifted the ban on having vampires and werewolves.
Yeah. That's strange. The super scary movies that were first scary movies are vampires and Frankenstein and werewolf. I mean, Wolfman, and it's really scared the crap out of people. Now it's on cereal boxes, all of them, and I think we've seen them so much they're not scary anymore.
Right.
If I saw Bela Lugosi climbing up the wall towards me, right. Hey Scooby. And in real life, they'd be scary, but we've seen them so much they're not.
Right. And then you look at the 1970s or even, the 60s, the horror film really went through a major change. But
Well, you had Hammer films, and they put it all in glorious bloody color,
yeah,
and they're just really cool.
yeah. But post Hammer, we got Texas Chainsaw and we got
Right.
The Exorcist,
Mhm.
and there's a shift in what these things are about. We got the revenge pictures without, monsters. The Last House on the Left.
I spit on your grave.
Yeah, and those are horror pictures when there's no monster to be found.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I don't know why they considered vampires so scary up to that time. Sort of.
Because I think they represented disease and other weirdness. It's an old world kind of terror that's kind of faded.
Mm-hmm.
It's become a thing of mythology that, hey, that's cool, but it's not necessarily scary.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did not know about the vampire thing, but
yeah,
man, couldn't he have a regular name like Smith or something? It has to be Morbius for crying
Michael
out loud.
Morbius. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I would go to a doctor named Morbius,
right?
So, oh, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. Anyway,
or Doctor Doom. Yeah, I got an appointment with Doctor Doom.
I went to a doctor named Dr. Butcher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Okay. So he gets on a boat.
Morbius does.
Yes. But then his wife comes along.
Girlfriend.
His girlfriend? Okay. And she's pretty. And he's hideous because his nose is getting the skull-like nose.
Yeah.
So he gets in a spacesuit and gets the venom of the blood from the vampire bat. And he gets up and kills his helper and tries to commit suicide.
But can't.
Well, he changes his mind.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of suicides do. And he becomes evil vampire. He was
Morbius, the living vampire.
Yeah.
Because he's not a real vampire.
Mm-hmm.
But he has all the characteristics of a vampire. He needs the blood, but it's because of the side effect of his experimentation and his own blood disease. So,
we have an interesting little side thing with
subplot.
Yeah, it's another. I guess it's another paper, and they're talking about, hey, we got a 8-armed creature going around, and it's really Spider-Man with the lizard swinging around looking for Morbius because they figured out they need Morbius's blood.
Right.
So I don't know how they figure that out, but hey, they're super scientists. So.
Right.
So the problem is this lizard's becoming lizardy.
Right. He's losing that intelligence, and so they got to find Morbius quick because Spidey needs Doc Connors' mind, and he doesn't need his enemy, the lizard, right on hand while he's trying to take care of Morbius. Mm-hmm. And he needs to get rid of these extra arms.
Okay. We got more Gwen trouble. Petey's gone because he can't visit his girlfriend with 8 arms. Right. Although, might be a good time had by all.
Oh, man.
But
anyway, she calls Aunt May, thinking, oh, maybe people went out of town. And Aunt May's like, no, he would have told me.
Oh,
so the benefit of the doubt and the phone call actually make things worse.
Mm-hmm. And she's crying. So.
Yeah. So Spidey and the Lizard catch up with Morbius, and battle ensues.
Yeah. Seeing Gwen, and it's going to end badly, and it's kind of sad. That's always so. Oh goodness. A huge battle. They fight. And then, it's pretty cool fight actually.
No, it's really great.
And Morbius goes into the water. Is he dead? I don't know. Oh, it has Finney, the question mark.
Right. So, but anyway, Doc Connors and Spidey got what they needed from Morbius, and they created this anti-thing serum, and Doc Connors dries up and becomes Doc Connors again, and Spidey loses the extra arms. So, woo! What a relief.
Yeah, indeed.
But yeah, I think, this introductory story with Morbius is cool, and he looks cool. He's been a popular recurring character for many years. Yeah, and he has had his own series a few times, at least twice. Mm-hmm. But of course, it keeps getting canceled because he can't carry a book. But I digress.
Villains cannot, usually.
Well, and then they kind of heroed him up later.
Yeah.
And that didn't really work.
The only way you could do a villain comic book if they win. They have to win, and that'd be interesting. There's been criminal stories where the criminal is a good guy. I think Raffles is an old story where this crook goes and steals stuff, and it's really kind of cool. And it's like a cat burglar or something like that. But it's I don't know. Or Third Man, I guess.
Sure.
That was a radio show, but comic books they got to lose, and that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Unless it's a comedy or something. I don't know.
Right.
And so it's
no, that series definitely wasn't a comedy. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Neither was a Joker thing, and even though
gosh, that Joker series is so bad. I've read several issues of it, and it's just junky. And there were limitations put on them by the code, like he has to go to jail at the end of every issue, and okay, that could have worked, like if there was a real arc to it.
Yeah, or could have done a Hogan's Heroes type thing and get in and out of jail and
Sure.
or something. I could have done it. I could have read a better one than that.
Yeah.
I'm not a genius or anything like that, but I could have wrote something better, I think. But maybe not. I don't. I am kind of stupid. All right.
So let's talk about Spider-Man some more.
Walk the Savage Land.
Yes. Amazing Spider-Man number 103. It's the December 1971 issue. Yes, it's Walk the Savage Land. Written by Roy Thomas. Penciled by Gil Kane and inked by Frank Giacoya.
All right.
And so Spidey fighting bad guys, muggers, robbers, whatever.
Yeah, and for no good reason. Just something to see him.
It's always good to open a scene, a splash page where Spidey's swinging into action.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we cut immediately though to the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson is breaking it to his lead employees, minions or whatever, that the Bugle's in trouble and we need to sell something sensational to sell papers because we're competing with television.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like how Gil Kane renders Jameson. It's just a cigar chomping and I don't know. It's really good.
Yeah.
Again, the guy is great at hands and close-ups, faces. Very good with expression. But so Jameson heard about this story about a fella
who finds a big monster.
Right, that wrecked his expedition in the Antarctic. So Jameson gets the wild idea, hey, we're going to go there. We're going to get photos of the monster. We're going to get all the stuff, and it's going to sell papers like gangbusters.
Mm-hmm.
So Robbie Robinson kind of like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, or maybe you shouldn't involve Parker.
Mm-hmm.
But Jameson says, no, I got to get Parker, and we're going, and I'm going to go. Which is interesting because the typically cowardly Jameson, but he wants to be Admiral Byrd. That's what he's trying to do.
And he's in real trouble.
Yeah.
He's got to do something.
Right. Interesting how they're talking about papers dying in 1971 because of competition with television.
Mm-hmm.
And we now papers dying and disappearing because of the internet and blogging.
I mean, 20 years ago, the Sunday paper was about 4 inches thick.
Sure.
Now it's the same size as used to be the daily paper.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people who used to read the paper cover to cover every day.
Except for the sports section, which
Sure.
bores me. Unless there's a juicy scandal that I was interested in.
Right.
But normally not. Yeah, I loved it. And then it started talking less to me and trying to be hip. I don't want hip. If I want to read hip, get a hip paper. I want something with the news and
when regular newspapers decide they want to be Rolling Stone rather than real journalism, that hurt papers in the long run.
Yeah. Because the only people who want to read papers are old people, and old people don't want to read about rap stars.
Right.
At least not a lot about it. Yeah.
Well, and that kind of thing that's scandal sheet crap. That's not real news.
No.
But unfortunately, in this day and age, that's what people tune into television for their quote-unquote news, celebrity.
And it's easy for them to get because that stuff is cheap. Finding out about the crooked politicians is hard. You got to spend a lot of shoe leather and money and all that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay. Robbie Robinson is worried that Petey's going to come, so he says, and so he calls Petey, and see Gwen is with him, and she doesn't like it, but Robbie wants some money. I mean, Petey wants some money, so come with me and talk to J. Jonah Jameson. And of course, Gwen is a nice-looking girl in mini skirt, and J. Jonah Jameson has this great idea. Hey, we'll take you along. That'd be great.
Yeah, it'll be great for the story.
Yeah.
Of course, Robbie doesn't think it's a good idea because he's always the voice of reason.
Yeah, Petey doesn't like it a dang bit either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Gwen says
really
she wants to
well.
go. Well, yeah, Gil Kane's one of the masters. Of course, Gwen's drawn well.
Yeah. Yeah, so they go up to the Arctic to go to the jungle.
Yeah, because the Savage Land is the oasis in the Antarctic.
That amuses me. And they land, and J. Jonah Jameson gets Gwen to get into a bikini. Yeah, because people have a different idea about the jungle. The jungle is really nasty, and you don't want to have any bear skin in the jungle.
No.
And I have never wanted to go to a jungle.
No, neither have I.
Unless I was in a tank or something. It's air conditioned.
Right.
I mean, yeah. But, oh well, she looks good in a bikini.
Yeah.
Yay. The look of J. Jonah Jameson is just like, I don't know how to explain
I think Jameson is the best drawn thing in this comic. In like every panel that he's in, Jameson is just over the top and great.
And she's wearing high heels.
Of course.
Oh my god. So, alright, so they go to the jungle. They see
Peter and Gwen, Jameson and the scientist, and so on.
They see this big altar with a big dragon-looking thing. There's a gong. And you're not really supposed to hit gongs.
But of course they do.
Oh no.
Jameson.
Yeah. And here comes these Aboriginal people, and they're angry, and here comes the big guy.
Gog.
They named it's a biblical reference.
Yes, it is Gog and Magog. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Kirby-esque.
Yeah, but you know how Gil Kane has this thing that is kind of a signature deal of his. You will see eyebrows or scales or skin patterns on dragons and monsters and things with these kind of circular, kind of
puffy looking things.
And you'll it's,
marshmallowy.
Yeah, you'll see it on nearly any Gil Kane monster. And Gog is a classic Gil Kane monster.
Yeah.
It'd be even more stereotypical Gil Kane if it had a mohawk. Gil Kane, I'm serious. Spencer and I've been doing a lot of reading a lot of Silver Age Green Lantern, and Green Lantern ends up fighting a lot of monsters and aliens with mohawks.
Well, people wear mohawks are scary, and I don't like them. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But
so anyway,
Gog just swats Petey, and he goes flying.
Right.
Grabs the girl, of course, because monsters love beautiful blondes.
Yep. And takes off into the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody thinks Peter is dead.
Yeah.
And so, Peter swings into action as Spidey, and he's like, well, if anybody sees me as Spider-Man, my secret identity is over. Right. Keep that in mind for the rest of this story.
Mm-hmm.
So Gog returns to his master, who turns out to be Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, but of course. Okay, J. Jonah Jameson's getting brave, and then he meets a saber-tooth tiger, but it's
Zabu.
Zabu, yeah.
Yeah, so Ka-Zar and Zabu show up.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, any saber-tooth tiger you'll see in Marvel Comics is going to be Zabu, because he is the last of the saber-tooths.
Yes. The last of the mighty long-tooths.
Yes. So...
Yeah. Spidey fights a big snake, and it's a pretty cool fight.
Yeah. See what I mean with the circly kind of pattern that Gil Kane uses?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
So, but yeah, Spidey is on the trail of Gog, doesn't know about Kraven yet, and of course, Ka-Zar is going to help Jameson find the girl,
right?
Even though he wants Jameson and his expedition to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and Spider-Man gets in quicksand. I read this on the internet. I wish I had thought of this, but when I was growing up, I thought quicksand would be a much bigger problem than it actually turned out to be.
Yeah.
And because everybody, Gilligan to everybody.
Sure. It's a popular plot device, but it's not that big a problem, actually.
It's a slow threat. So you can talk about, oh my God, oh, I loved you, now I'm going to die. No, and so it gives people time to rescue you, and it builds up tension. I mean, a lightning bolt, and you're done.
You can get stuck in quicksand, but as long as you're not like up to your neck in it before somebody finds you, they can pull you out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I don't know if quicksand really exists like it does here. But yeah. But in the mystical or mythical quicksand, it's kind of fun, and it makes it better because it's a slow.
I get it.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to. But man, people dying left and right in quicksand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll talk about the next issue, which is great. It's the continuation of this story. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 104, January of 1972 issue. The story is called The Beauty and the Brute, written by Roy Thomas, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Frank Giacoia.
All right. Spider-Man's in quicksand again. And
still?
Yeah, he's still in there.
It's not a separate incident. It's the same.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We have the obligatory recap page telling what has gone before.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of cool. Spider-Man's trying to get out, and he uses a spider...
the webbing?
And pulls... and hits a tree and pulls himself up. The tree branch breaks his webbing. Dispenser.
Oh, the web shooter?
Yeah. And that's what it's called, web shooter. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be darned. I thought it'd be a cooler name than that.
Yeah,
but it's saved by Ka-Zar.
Pause for a second. You really had never heard it referred to as a web shooter before?
I forgot what it's called.
Okay. I'm like, web dispenser.
Yeah. I thought he had a better name than that. I thought there was...
So they shoot webs. They're the web shooters.
Yeah. Oh, it was military web dispenser, I think. He meets Ka-Zar, and they talk about what they're going to do. So,
yeah.
All right. So we get some monologuing from Kraven. He tells about how he met Gog, who is an alien, and a pretty cool spaceship.
Yeah, Alien was a baby that hatched and was sort of raised by Kraven.
And he finds another egg with a female Gog.
And it's dead, though.
Yeah, and Kraven actually is gentle, and he kind of buries it. And I thought that was kind of cool, that Kraven has its good points, too.
Well, Kraven he's a hunter, but I think there's something about Kraven that, yes, he's killed every animal that's ever walked the earth, or whatever, but he also, I think, has an understanding of the animals and the balance of nature, and so, I don't know, or he realizes that this dead creature was intended to be the mate of Gog.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sad. Yeah. Because if you are the only one of your kind, if you are a thing without a mate, that's what makes you a monster.
Yeah.
That's a monster, a thing without a mate.
Yeah. Ooh. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Also, probably Kraven didn't kill baby elephants or baby stuff or pregnant animals.
Yeah.
Because that's just...
Well, even Predator wouldn't kill a pregnant woman. Remember that?
No,
Predator 2?
I didn't see Predator 2. Isn't he good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not as good as the first one, but...
No, the first one's fantastic.
Yeah.
But, that's kind of cool. So we get the story, and it's a pretty neat story. So Kraven's going to take over Ka-Zar land.
The Savage Land.
Yeah. And so he's going to get Gog and going to kick butt.
Yeah.
Now he's found Gwen. And Gwen is a babe, so now they can populate and have a lot of little Kravens.
Yeah. But, of course, Gwen doesn't get any say in that, and that's why Kraven's a villain.
Right.
So Spidey and Ka-Zar show up, and they fight Gog and Kraven.
Mm-hmm. Spidey leads Gog away.
Right. Gwen does not see Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important.
Yeah. And Craven fights Ka-Zar, and it's a good fight.
Yeah. I love Ka-Zar. He's our perfect Marvel Comics stand-in for Tarzan.
Yeah.
Um,
And Craven, I don't
Craven
know.
uses his nipple guns again.
Yeah.
Or he blasts out of the eyes on the lions on his shirt, but I mean, come on, that's what it is.
Yeah. Spider-Man is in trouble because Gog is catching up with him.
But then here comes a big Tyrannosaur or an Allosaur, and Gog and it end up fighting.
Yeah, and it's a pretty cool fight.
Yeah.
Because Tyrannosaurus Rex is mean, and but the end with God breaking the neck of the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
Oh, it might be Allosaurus.
Yeah.
They had Gil Kane eyebrows again.
Yeah.
Can he not tour with that? I wonder what's up with that.
That's just how he draws monsters. It looks good, though.
I think so, yeah.
So,
all right.
Anyway, so Gog gets trapped in the same quicksand that Spidey was in.
Right.
So good. So Gog dies, and
Craven drops over a high cliff. So that's the two main ways to kill villains: quicksand and high cliffs.
yeah,
I wouldn't go near them if I was a villain.
right. But if it seems like the bad guy in any like Republic serial or old television show is you got to fight somebody on a cliff's edge.
Right.
So yeah, Craven falling off the cliff, presumably to his death. Obviously not really.
Sherlock Holmes versus Moriarty was the first time someone did that. Might be.
Ooh, and then you're seeing the trope just became a cliche, like because people aped that.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I don't know the answer to that, but that could be.
Because there's not much adventure stuff before Sherlock Holmes. There's some, but not that much. But
right.
Very
interesting.
Yeah. Oh, satisfying, good Spider-Man.
Yeah. So Spidey or Peter gets out of his costume and he wakes up like he'd been unconscious.
J. Jonah Jameson thinks actually sees him, but it couldn't be.
Yeah, just out of the corner of his eye. There's a great panel. The expression on Jameson's face is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Again, thank you, Gil Kane. Yeah. But so Peter reunites with the group. They all leave. Nobody from that expedition saw and knew that Spider-Man was there. I thought that was very clever. Way to go, Roy Thomas.
Yeah, it was.
And this whole 2-issue story was an homage, of course, to King Kong.
Yeah, indeed. It says at the very end of it, there is a thing for Carl Denham.
Yes.
An entrepreneur.
Carl Denham, obviously.
And I said, that sounds familiar. Let me look it up. Oh, it's a guy in King Kong. So,
yeah.
Played by Jack Black and a better actor in the original King Kong, which is a far better
Was it
film.
Bruce Cabot? I can't remember.
I think so.
I can't remember if Bruce Cabot was the guy who played Denham or if he played the skipper. But I know the name. But anyway, yeah, Carl Denham, great character, and the actor who played him was terrific. I'm going to look it up on my phone just for a second.
But it's the first one really, we felt so bad for King Kong because he goes to tremendous lengths to get the girl. And, he kills this big snake.
Robert Armstrong played him in the first one.
Okay.
The other guy, Bruce Cabot, was the skipper. Anyway, Robert Armstrong is great. He's also in the original film version of the Most Dangerous Game, which also stars Fay Wray. They were filmed at the same time, using a lot of the same sets.
Wow.
But anyway, both, and he's also in Son of Kong. Robert Armstrong, he's great. I wish I saw him in more old movies. The original King Kong is probably my favorite movie.
It's not my favorite, but it's probably in top 20. So it's fantastic.
If not my very favorite, definitely in my top 5.
Yeah.
5. So
disappointed with the Peter Jackson one.
I didn't see it. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, and the 70s one, the only cool thing about it has World Trade Center.
Sure.
And it was just stupid.
Yeah. I think when Kong gets remade, people forget what was so special about it. It wasn't that you had a big monkey in it. It was that big monkey was like a real character.
Yeah. And
not a monster.
The 70s one, we were promised that we would cry when he died, and no one cried. don't know. I was kind of tearful that he died because it was really sad. And
But then they undid it in the sequel in the 80s with King Kong Lives. It's the one with Linda Hamilton's in it.
Oh, I always thought she was beautiful. But King Kong Escapes is one of the greatest films ever for sheer corniness and coolness.
King Kong Escapes, and then we should wrap up, but King Kong Escapes is the sequel to King Kong vs. Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
King Kong Escapes is King Kong is exploited by an evil scientist, Doctor Who, H.U.
Yeah.
And he's a super scientist, and he created a Mecha Kong, a robot Kong.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they fight, and it is awesome. Yeah. You're right.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll see you in the funny pages.